Hello everyone, I've got a new team for you. Well, it's not so much a new team, it's got some of the core elements you'll have seen from Great League. We've got a Machamp, a Shadow Machamp with Close Combat and Rock Slide. We've got a Registeel with the traditional Flash Cannon and Focus Blast, and we've got the Galarian Stunfisk with Rock Slide and Earthquake. Nothing too unusual there, apart from the fact that you might not have seen Registeel very much this season thanks to the double nerf it got. I don't think it suffered too badly from that. Its biggest problem is more that Galarian Stunfisk is just better at doing the same thing. So I figured why not bring out both. I've noticed particularly this tail end of the season, more and more Azumarill seems to be forgetting to bring Hydro Pump along, and I've run into quite a few Ice Beam play rough Azumarills. So the goal of this team is twofold. One is that close combat on Machamp does a huge amount of damage with the debuff, obviously. So much so that when Rock Slide is neutral, it does about the same damage as close combat when it's resisted. So actually using either is pretty much the same. Obviously, for things like flying types where Rock Slide is super effective and close combat's resisted, or if you don't want to take the defense drop from using close combat. The other part of this team is that it's a bait team, in that we try and draw out any steel counters with the Galarian Stunfisk, use Machamp to sweep them, and then hopefully give Registeel a clear run in the back to flatten anything that's left. We've got a lot of shield pressure going on with Earthquake and Rock Slide, and Close Combat and Rock Slide. And that means that we've got a good chance of having Registeel with no shields left at the end to drop those Flash Cannons and Focus Blasts on whatever's left. So without further ado, let's go into the matchups. I've got the speed set to a little bit faster this time, and I've got 10 matches for you. Hopefully the time works for you. Let me know about the run times, because I'm still trying to figure out what's good there. So, first up, we have Josie Pappy 12, slightly faster matches, as I said. The Machamp lead, we're going to be building up, and into a Skarmory. Now, Skarmory, because the Steel type is neutral to both Close Combat and Rock Slide, so we do tend to go for the Close Combat to try and land one and see if they'll let it land. Doesn't matter, it doesn't, it's still got a shield off them. And there we go, up comes the shield, that's okay, we go straight into Stunfisk, again, then we don't want to take the Sky Attack in return. As our shield down, there's a very good chance they won't shield this Earthquake, so we move straight into an Earthquake on Azumarill and don't bother baiting. And there it goes, an Earthquake lands. Now we can go just Rock Slides, because now they're low enough health that it's going to sort of pressure their shields a bit more. Two back-to-back Rock Slides will finish them off. And if they've got a Hydro Pump, this will finish us, but maybe they don't. No, it's a Hydro Pump. That's okay though, that's okay. We can bring in Machamp and start sort of farming it down. And didn't quite get to the Rock Slide there, but that's okay, because that means they splashed all their energy. We're down to just Registeel left. But we know we've got Skarmory, which we do well against, and we've got a slight energy lead from farming down this Azumarill. And two shields. Out comes Skarmory, and they're going to be lobbing a charge attack at us, probably something we resist, because only Sky Attack and Flash Cannon are both resisted by steals. Back with a Focus Blast, this should be enough to take it out at this range. We'll see if a shield comes up. No shield, okay. Two shields to one, and whatever's in the back. Galarian Stunfisk. This is quite a tight matchup, or it would be if the shields were a bit more equal, because those Earthquakes really do a lot of damage, but then so do the Focus Blast in return. And there we go, look at that. That's taken off almost all of its health. We still need to get to a Flash Cannon though to finish it. Shield this, hoping it's an Earthquake, and this is. Possibly they could have baited us with a Rock Slide, but, well, not today. A Flash Cannon is enough to take them down at this range, so up comes the shield, and we're going to push for another Flash Cannon. Now, if this is an Earthquake, it's going to finish us. If it's a Rock Slide, it probably won't, so don't shield. I think in hindsight, I probably should have just shielded that anyway, because either way, it would have been an Earthquake finishing us or a Rock Slide that didn't. And then the Flash Cannon comes out, finishing the job. Thank you very much, good game. Next up, Bruno RZE. Machamp going into Bastiodon. This is a lovely alignment, isn't it? They're going to switch this out immediately into a Cherim. Okay, there's a Cherim. We're going to switch to the Registeel. Registeel is a bit tougher. I can soak up those Razor Leafs a bit better, but it is going to take some pain from the Weather Balls. That's okay though. Registeel's quite sturdy, it always was, and Flash Cannon hurts in return. So we're going to drop the Flash Cannons back, And up comes a shield. I think we're going to need to shield if we want to stay in, but I think we can go 2 for the price of 1, so we'll bring a shield up, throw another flash cannon and see if they want to shield that as well. And either they'll spend another shield or we'll get switch advantage, and either's good for us really. Out comes a flash cannon and another shield up. That's a brave place to be given the Machamp has a move loaded. So there we go, drop the Machamp on them. They can't shield this, so down it goes. Out comes Victory Bell. Should have realised that when I saw the Bastiodon up front. That's such a common combination these days. Shouldn't have brought the Registeel out here, I don't think, because as you can see it didn't do very much. It just gave him a bit of energy. And out comes the Stunfisk. Ground type is neutral against the grass poison because the poison's super effective and the grass resists it. But it doesn't really matter too much against Victory Bell because it can't take any hits at all. We're going to guess this is a Acid Spray and not shield it. It's a sensible play on their part because it means that at least the Bastiodon has a chance of taking us down. But only if we don't get to the Earthquake in time, which we do. Earthquake against a double super effective is going to really hurt. Is it enough to one hit? Yes. Goodbye Bastiodon. Oh no, not quite. We'll pretend I missed a dot and it was to farm down some energy. And there goes the Victory Bell, Mudshotted down. And a shield left. That's a good outcome. And next up we've got, again, a Machamp leading into a Ferrothorn. Nice good lead here. Ferrothorn is vulnerable to fighting damage. They switch to Medicham. Now this team doesn't really like Medicham. And I'm just going to try something cheeky. I'm going to just try and land a close combat on this Medicham because I think there's a pretty good chance they won't shield it. And even sort of resisted, well, it takes off a lot of health. So out comes Galarian Stunfisk. The health is low on this Medicham to pressure it, so I'm going to start just rock sliding it, hopefully to get those shields off. And there we go, rock slide, and see if they want to shield that. And again, Power Punch. This team doesn't cope very well with Medicham, as you can see. All my things are vulnerable to it, but hopefully I can finish it off. It's close. And they double shield, so we're shields down on both sides. That's great for me because both my team work very well in no shields. And this is where I think I make a mistake because I bring in the Machamp. It nearly manages, but not quite. They get to the charge move again, finishing off the Machamp, and I already know there's a Ferrothorn that I can finish off with Machamp. Registeel can farm down the energy on the Medicham, but it's not going to help because the Ferrothorn is still there. I can hit it quite hard with this, with a Focus Blast, and then out comes a Bastiodon. And again, Focus Blast does a huge amount of damage to that as well, but it's still not quite enough. I can't quite go 2 versus 1. If I'd saved up Machamp, just a couple more counters would probably have done the trick, but that's the way it is. And in comes the Flamethrower, which will finish off Registeel here. Ooh, well played, well played. I mean, double steel counters, double steals. It's an interesting match up there, and I think that they had a Medicham which made all the difference. Another rank 9 player, seen quite a few of those down in rank 8. Now, Machamp versus Altaria is an interesting one because it's IV dependent. Depending on how high their attack stat is whether you get to 2 rock slides before you go down or not. In this case, the health bar went to yellow before we got to the first rock slide, so we won't get to a second one. And ideally, we'd have switched out before they sent the Sky Attack our way, but not quite. So now we're just going to switch to Galarian Stunfisk and try and rock slide it again. Let's switch out to Toxicroak. Toxicroak's also a tough one for this team, but because I've got the ground damage against it with Galarian Stunfisk, and actually it's pretty squishy, you know, even resisting the rock slides, they hurt. And we'll see if it wants to go 2 shields against it. Mud Bomb is super effective, Counter is super effective, and we've just dropped an Earthquake. So if they shield this, then they'll carry on and play, but no, they don't. Down goes Toxicroak. Alright, he shields. So Ferrothorn, if I can get to an Earthquake, no, not quite. This will finish off the Galarian Stunfisk, but that's okay because Machamp can come back out again and hopefully drop a close combat on its face. They switch, they go back into the Altaria, and if they hadn't shielded the Rock Slide, well, this is what would have happened. Just like that, bang. Now, we can't quite finish off the Ferrothorn, but we're still taking it down a long way, and at this point, well, there's not a lot they can do against Registeel. The Thunderbolt will be neutral, and there we go, but it still doesn't do an awful lot. Registeel's just that tough, and out comes the Focus Blast, and we'll finish the job off quite nicely. Into the next matchup, we're going to go KG02050. Interesting name. And Machamp goes into Altaria again. So in this matchup, we've got a slightly different scenario because they've got slightly different distribution of IVs. Look at the health bar going down slightly slower. We've got to the Rock Slide whilst it's still in green. That means we can get to a second Rock Slide. So if we just trade shields, we'll hit them to 2 Rock Slides before they hit us with 2 Sky Attacks. So we shield the first Sky Attack, and we're going to go for the second Rock Slide. And if this lands, then obviously it'll take out Altaria, and if it doesn't land, we'll switch immediately, or just let the Machamp go down, because either way, they've spent 2 shields to our 1, we're switching to the Galarian Stunfisk, and they've done exactly what we hoped they would, which is to drop the charge move on something that resists it. Sky Attack doesn't do a lot to Galarian Stunfisk, and Azumarill. They've got no shields left, so we move straight into the Earthquakes, which does the most damage. And a double Earthquake will put Azumarill down very low, so the only real question is, do they have Hydro Pump? And I'm not going to shield anyway, because I've got a Machamp that wants that shield, but it's an Ice Beam. Second Ice Beam will take us down, but I think we can get to the Earthquake first, and we do, and off we go. Second Earthquake coming through, not quite going to finish off Azumarill, but it's close. They finish off Galarian Stunfisk, it doesn't matter at this point. We drop the Machamp in and let them throw their energy at us. And then we just farm them a little bit with the Registeel. Registeel with 1 shield versus a half health Altaria, and I think we can get to the Flash Cannon before the Sky Attack, so there we go. Flash Cannon goes in first, this will put the Altaria down, and then it's only a question of what's in the back. We've got most of our health and we've got a shield against the Venusaur. Now, Venusaur is not as simple a threat as it looks because of the sheer damage that Frenzy Plant does. I mean, that is quite a healthy chunk, even when resisted. That's one of the most powerful moves in the game at 100 damage for 40 energy, plus stab on top, of course. But it's not going to be enough, because I think we're just about at a point where that wouldn't quite finish us, but I'm not going to be cocky. Up comes the shield, and we're going to get that Flash Cannon out and finish the job. But yes, despite resisting all the damage, Registeel seems to actually have a tough time with the grass types, just because of the power of a lot of the moves. Both Victory Bell and Venusaur, and of course Meganium, are quite significant threats. Right, first set over, that was a 4 out of 5, and we're going into the second set. So, Machamp into Wormadam. Now, I've not seen one of those before. I'm guessing someone might be trying this out for the upcoming Halloween Cup. But with Bug Steel, of course, it's quite a solid type. We switch to the Galarian Stunfisk into Vigoroth. Vigoroth is a really great safe swap. Quite good coverage, but we'll see if they want to shield the Earthquake. They do, okay. We're taking a shield down. We're quite happy to let Galarian Stunfisk go down because we can get Machamp onto Vigoroth. It will tear it apart. Bulldoze finishes the job quite nicely. And bring back into the Machamp. They still don't know we have close combat yet, so we're just going to double shield whatever they throw at us. Build up to 2 close combats, and well, yes, I mean, look at how fast that takes it down. Not much health left, but if you look at Machamp in the PV Poke ratings, you'll know that with sort of 10 hit points left and a full energy bar, it can actually finish off about 90% of the meta just by double tapping with close combat. It's a crazy amount of damage with no shields. And that's the place we aim to be with this team. So out comes a Mew. Again, interesting choice. Looks like this might be actually Halloween eligible almost. Certainly he's trying out a few. And Overheat. Okay, double Overheat, probably another one incoming. I think we can take a second Overheat because they'll have reduced their attack stat a little bit, but it's still going to hurt a lot. In comes the Overheat. They'd have to be daft to do anything else. There we go, Overheat. Right, super effective. Isn't quite enough to finish us, so we switch into the Machamp and drop a Rock Slide on the Wormadam. Rock Slide and Close Combat. I mean, Close Combat would probably be a better choice, but it doesn't make any difference because it's enough to finish it either way. We've pushed them to throw the charge move. It's a Rock Slide. Not quite enough, and I think we're going to finish this with Flash Cannon. There we go. Quite close. Overheat's a deadly move, and Mew's one of the few things that can actually viably use it in this meta. and you never know what you're going to get with it. I hate facing you. Right, another rank 9 player. There seems to be quite a few of those hanging around the 2300s at the moment. I assume they've climbed up and bounced down again. Rainy Castform. Interesting pick with the lovely water gun and weather ball combination. It's quite deadly. So perhaps we'll try and see if we can land a close combat on it, because they might decide not to shield it. In comes the weather ball. We return with a close combat. They do shield. Well, we've got a shield. That's okay. Out comes Drift Blim. That's good because we can bring out the Galarian Stunfisk. Rock Slide will hit super effective. They've got Icy Wind and Shadow Ball. Icy Wind debuffs, and Shadow Ball, well, Shadow Ball just hurts like that. But I think we can get to another Rock Slide before they can get to another Shadow Ball, so I think we're okay here. And that's taken their last shield off, so let's see. Rest of the Rock Slide. Out comes the Rock Slide, and there goes Drift Blim. Drift Blim's a great Pokemon. It's not quite as fast enough getting the punch as the Galarian Stunfisk with its crazy charge rate. So bring up another shield, soak another Shadow Ball, and aim to finish the job with Rock Slide. Our goal here is, of course, to get the Drift Blim out of the way because Ghost resists the fighting type of Machamp. And it gives a switch advantage. So out comes the Castform again. That does super effective, but we still get to a Rock Slide just as they hit their charge move. So they finished the job, but that's okay. They've thrown their energy at us now, so we'll bring the Registeel out and see what happens. I think they're in range of Flash Cannon. We're going to take away the ball in return, but that's okay. It's neutral to steel, but it doesn't hit too hard. It's basically the body slam of water type. All the weather balls are. Overcharge a little and switch the Machamp. And unshielded close combat onto Ludicolo. And one hit kill, look at that. Don't quite finish the cast form, but we've got a Flash Cannon loaded. Their weather ball isn't going to do enough, so yeah, half our health gone, and Flash Cannon return. Thank you very much. That'll do the job. Water does resist Flash Cannon, but that doesn't matter at this range. And down they go. So yes, that close combat damage is really quite immense. In neutral matchups, it just tears things apart. Okay, another Altaria matchup. Again, we're going to watch the health bar and try and see if it's going to yellow. Throw a single Rock Slide if it does, and then switch immediately after, hoping to catch the Sky Attack. And we'll see how quick on the finger they were. And switch into the Galarian Stunfisk. Cleverly, they didn't throw a Sky Attack because that would have been wasted. They've saved it up for later. So we're just going to bring out the Rock Slide. They've spent the shield on... Sorry, bring out the Earthquake because they've spent a shield on the Rock Slide. They're less likely to shield in this one. And now we're going to just go straight Rock Slide to finish off. Unless they've got a Hydro Pump, which they do. Flatness with Hydro Pump, but that's okay. We can bring the Machamp out again and try and go for a Rock Slide on them. Rock Slide and Close Combat do about the same, but Rock Slide doesn't debuff you, so we use Rock Slide in this scenario. They shield that as well. So, 2 shields to 0. 3 Pokemon left, but we've got a Registeel with 2 shields, and they've got none. I think that's a good place to be. I'm happy with that. We'll shield this because it's a good chance of being Hydro Pump. Ice Beam. Oh well. Never mind. At this point, I'm thinking, could it be a Hydro Pump? So I shield again, and it wasn't. So that was bad shield. I think I've made a mistake there, and Registeel is great, but now I've blown my shield advantage onto Ice Beams. That's just embarrassing. Altaria isn't quite low enough health, and it does have the Sky Attack loaded, so you know that was a good play on my opponent's part. Okay, Dragon Pulse even. Flash Cannon won't be quite enough. We overcharge a bit to help get an energy lead, but maybe it'll help. No, not quite. We can't take any Altaria. We need another Flash Cannon. We're going to take another Sky Attack. Unless there's something very, very fragile indeed in the back, we're not going to win this. So I should let it go. I could possibly got another Flash Cannon off and seen what they had in the back, but there's no chance I could have won against it. So I thought, why worry? Okay, Shiftry lead. This is great for Machamp. Super effective. We've got a non-Galarian Stunfisk. Going to try and drop the close combat because it's neutral. We hope they might not shield, and then we'll switch immediately into our own Stunfisk to catch the return fire. Now this is probably likely a mud bomb, which is super effective against us, but we can return favour with the Rock Slide, which whilst it's not super effective doesn't really matter because their health is so low. Their electric type means they are vulnerable to the mud shot damage, and that's going to add up for them. And Well, there we go. Rock Slide, let's see if they want to shield that. Probably won't bother. There we go. Not enough health left to matter, and we're into another Rock Slide immediately. Shiftry's quite fragile, so with a loaded charge move, they can't really take a punch at all, so they shield that as well. And they're going to finish us off. That's great, because it aligns us with the Machamp again. That's where we want to be. Out comes the Machamp, and look at that. Tears it apart. Just tears it apart. We're going to shield this, because obviously we're quite fragile too. But it doesn't matter, because counter damage will finish the job. We've now got a close combat loaded and a Rock Slide, so we're going to push for 2 close combats and then back-to-back them against the Skarmory. It would be daft not to shield the first one, and there we go, first shield coming up, and then the second one. Let's see how much damage this does to a Skarmory. Oh, almost all of it by the looks of it. I was trying to switch out there, but it turns out I didn't need to. There we go. Finish the Skarmory off with counters. Joshua Wolf 100. We've got Machamp going into Feraligatr. An interesting spicy pick and a shiny. We all like shinies. Probably going to push for the close combat here. Again, they don't take super effective from it, so they might be inclined to let a cross chop land. That's maybe what they're expecting. But no, they shield it. So we switch into the Galarian Stunfisk again. It does take super effective damage from its Hydro Cannons and its Waterfalls, but throws rocks back in return quite quickly. And it's down a shield, and we're lagging. But they shield that. I don't think that was a good call on their part, but it might have been enough to finish them off, so perhaps that was a good choice. This will be a Hydro Cannon, and yes it is. Hydro Cannon would flatten us, if not quite outright. Very, very hard-hitting move, and it's super effective here. So Rock Slide again, finish the job. Down to 0 shields, and a Melmetal. Haven't seen one of those in Great League for a while. This is probably going to be a Rock Slide, because Superpower debuffed them, and sure enough it is. We're going to go for the Earthquake, and beautiful switch by my opponent there. Just nicely done to catch the Earthquake on an Altaria, where it's just going to do no good at all. So we bring out the Registeel instead, hope to finish the job with that. Flash Cannon it. We can absorb the Sky attacks, and we can absorb the Dragon Pulses, and they're switch locked too, so we can nibble away at it and take it down, hopefully building up a bit of an energy lead, because we do still want to take that Melmetal down. Machamp will tear it apart if we can get Machamp on it, and a Focus Blast will one-hit it, but we have to respect the superpower that Melmetal can return us with. There's a Flash Cannon, and out comes the Melmetal again. We're sitting here to encourage him to throw a move, and it's another Rock Slide. So then they're not feeling brave about debuffing themselves with a superpower just yet. So we get to a Focus Blast in return, and that will finish it off. And there we go. 3 Pokemon left and a shield. That's not too bad. And that's the lot. So I think that was 8 wins out of 10. Hopefully showcased the power of close combat and how Shadow Machamp plays against some of the more common matchups. I'm quite liking this team. Obviously Double Steel does have its weaknesses. I've run into a few cases where they're bringing Double Steel counters. It just ends badly. I have run into the classic Caleb Peng, Skarmory and Shiftry and Meganium. Does very well against those. Only the Meganium really threatens you much, because the Machamp does so much damage to the Skarmory and the Shiftry. And so they're left trying to Earthquake your entire team. Yeah, so hopefully that's given you good insights. Let me know what you feel about the running time of this. We're up to about 25 minutes. 10 matches seems a bit long, and my voice is going a little bit, but if you like that length, then let me know. Thank you, and goodbye.